Got the cup. That's pretty much the recap. No, it was a really good football game, really good contest against a really good opponent. Down 21-7, our kids fought back, got a safety, got a field goals, touchdown before the half. It never really felt like we were down 21-7. And then big fourth down touchdown that I continue to go back and watch, and really don't know why we went for it on that fourth down, but I'm glad we did. Just kind of our quarterback was hurt and down on the sideline, and once he popped up, we decided to go and just trying to get a first down turned into one of the biggest plays of the game. So we're excited, but we put that one behind us now because we got a really talented Western team ahead of us in another rivalry game.
Yeah, I think I said last week, the playoffs started last week.
Mm-hmm.
Got to win out
Mm-hmm.
to make the playoffs. Another huge matchup this week. What are some of the keys that you're looking for this week?
Yeah, I mean, you can't find a bad spot on their football team. They're really aggressive on special teams, which we hadn't seen that in a while. They're playing lights out on defense. They're showing you different looks. They're blitzing. They're playing coverage. They're running around. They're hitting people. I think their running back might be one of the best in the country. He's almost at 1,000 yards now, and then they've got a really good quarterback that manages the game, doesn't turn the ball over. So I think Coach Baines has a complete football team there. Looking back from when I got in the league and what I know about Western, this might be the best all-around team that I've seen for Western. And so we're going to have our ducks in a row and put our best foot forward to win a game there on grass, in a rivalry game we're in conditions that we're not really used to playing in.
Questions?
I know earlier people were saying, hey, the Mesa Western game is one because Mesa's got to go play on grass and they never play on grass.
Mm-hmm.
They don't practice on grass. They don't know what grass is. Plus, you're going to have some weather probably down there. How do you prepare? I mean, you can't really prepare for weather other than going out and pretending you're a duck in the rain.
Yeah.
How do you prepare for grass?
Well, we do. We have played on grass at Fort Lewis, and then we do have access to play on grass. So that's not really a big deal for us. Luckily, today it's raining. We're about to go practice. And so our weather schedule this year has been so all over the place that I think we've got our fair share of weather under us as well. I think the biggest deal is just going to a place that not a lot of our guys have been to. And all of these road trips are unfamiliar to me. Now I'm going to another place that we've only stopped to use the bathroom in, and going to another road trip. And so the rivalry piece is what I think we got to try to get ready for. We watched the last clip of the game when we played them in 2019. We watched how they won by 2 points, kicked the game-winning field goal, and they stormed the field. I knew when I got the job who our rival was just based on how that went down. So I think our kids understand that. Ultimately, we got to go play the best Mesa Maverick football that we can play because it's our next game, but it is another big game.
Deegan said something Saturday. He said, playing lines. I think it was good that we've got a bunch of guys who have no idea what this is because they weren't part of, 69 to, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
He said, but we have enough guys who remember that, but guys who, hey, it's a game, let's just go play. Does that help in a rivalry game too, maybe?
Yeah, it does because I sit before y'all every week and say we're still trying to figure out how good we are and who we are. When you're on that type of a mission, then the past doesn't matter. It's just about what you're doing the very next play. And so I think that does help us a lot. And I think the guys that have been here, that helps us. That gives us some background and some history on things that have happened here before, including myself. I'm one of the new guys. We didn't play this team in the abbreviated season last year, so I don't know much about them either, but I know that it's a rivalry game. I know it's a big one.
Well, and you guys go into Gunnison, they have one of the highest elevation fields in all of the RMAC football. Are you guys going to try to manage some subs in so you can keep guys like DeMar and fresh, or is it going to be kind of just dealing with the elevation?
Yeah, I don't know how much elevation really affects us. If you make elevation a deal, it's a deal. And so if you go out there and play, then you just go out there and play. Here's what we know. we have enough substitutions on our team to where we can get guys in and out. I think we've proved that all year. We're never going to play a guy 100 plays. We feel like we're talented enough to put another guy in if a guy needs a spell. That happens here or wherever we play. And so we understand what the elevation is. We've given our kids the numbers, but we've played in elevation before. And so, again, what I know is if the Mesa Mavericks come to play Mesa Maverick football and we're disciplined, obedient, and gritty for 60 minutes, we should be okay and be right in it at the end.
You're moving on to next week already, but I haven't had a chance to talk to you about the big win.
Yeah.
What was the message for the guys when you were down? I know kind of this year you've been up, you've been down. In this big game during a timeout, or was it halftime?
Yeah.
What were you telling the guys?
So I love The Lion King. It's like one of my favorite movies, right? And so there's a part when Mufasa tells Simba to remember who you are, and that's what we told him. Remember who you are. Remember the things that we've been through. Remember the things that in the summertime when nobody was doing what we were doing. Remember how hard it was. Remember when you wanted to quit and you didn't. Well, don't quit now. And so we just kind of gave him a refresher, and we did tell him that you got to execute better. There was one series in the game that was a penalty-led touchdown. They didn't earn that touchdown. We did some things from a penalty. We horse-collared a guy. But we know better than to horse-collar a guy. And so there was another penalty and that got him down there. So we just have to remember who we are and go play our style of football.
Coach, you mentioned this season's kind of a learning process for you, right? How do you juxtapose that huge win with the job at hand, too? Like, how does this week go for you guys?
Yeah, we got to move on. And that's what we told them this morning. We told them that Sunday as well. You got to move on. Whatever happened last Saturday was awesome, but we got to go. Just like we had to let the homecoming festivities go and keep that in the past, the game is all a part of that because this is the best Western team that we've seen. They're one of the best teams in the country, and they've proved that. And so we got to get ready to play. You can't be drunk off of last week's game thinking that that's going to carry you into next week. Every game has its own life. And so we've got to be able to live that life just like we lived the last one.
What was maybe one of the biggest things you learned last week helping you guys move into this next one? The biggest or most surprising even?
Yeah, that we didn't panic when we were down. I think that's the sign of a mature football team. When we played William Jewell and we went down 3-0, we panicked. The guys couldn't believe it. That we were down 3-0. I'm like, whoa, hey fellas, we're 3-0. We're okay. In this game down 21-7, everybody just decided to firm up and do their job the right way, and we were able to come back. So it showed me how resilient we can be as a football team, how we can come back in any situation. That's what you're looking for when you're in my position, when you're trying to do some of the things that we want to do. Win the state championship in our state, have a better record than anybody else, be in the conversation in late October and November about the playoffs, be ranked, be one of the top teams in the country for recruiting purposes so we can attract better recruits. Well, I learned that we can do those things and we can get our program moved to a point to where we can be one of those talked about programs.
Going back to the homecoming stuff, this is probably something you might not even be qualified to answer, but the student section wasn't just loud, they were mean over there. They were getting into them. Is there plans for traveling this week for Mesa fans?
I don't know. I hope our school would get them a bus. I seen one of the kids ask for it on Twitter. Hopefully. We need all the help we can get. So if we can get some buses going, I'll talk to whoever about that. But hopefully, I know there's a lot of people that want to get down to see the game. I hope they can come support us, and I hope us as a school can do something to help them. If not, then I hope the live stream breaks because we got more people on the live stream than there's ever been. One thing I know about our students is that they've been very, very supportive this year. I think our product gives them something to be supportive of, and they've continued to fight with us. Currently, we're undefeated at home. That's a big deal. When you come to Stoker and play the Mesa Mavericks, you should have a hard time, and they've done a great job with that, and we're very happy that they're our students.
Your receivers it's going to be somebody different because you are so deep. But last week it looked like pretty much everybody got in on it. I mean, obviously, Elijah's touchdown was like, hope he slows down. Or the blocking sleds, and the one that the Lakey had, staying in bounds.
Yeah.
Are you just kind of seeing them get their feet under them and understanding every week more and more?
Yeah, I thought our offensive staff had a good game plan together to take shots down the field. Thought our quarterback executed the shots. That might be the best passing that I've seen out of Cars all season with the deep ball. Cars had been an intermediate short throw guy, take a shot every now and then. Well, he took some big shots, and we hit him. And so I think it's just an all-around effort. It was great protection. The scheme and the game plan that they had for the week to protect the quarterback to be able to get the ball down the field, I thought was spot on. So I think that what you saw was just a great offensive effort, but those guys did make big plays when they were called upon.
Yeah, I know, Mines made some adjustments and covered a little bit better in the second half, and they were still trying to work to get open. And Cars took a couple of sacks that he wasn't happy about. Just I'm trying to let something develop.
Yeah.
And that's, like you said, he's 7 games old. Coming from 9-man football, and I'd never heard of 9-man football before.
Yeah.
What all has he had to adapt to?
Well, he's not used to having the tackles in the game. And so I learned that during my time in South Dakota. Like, what is 9-man? Well, just take the tackles out. Coach Anderson, our defensive coordinator, is a 9-man product. So he actually taught me that about 9-man football. Everything else is pretty much the same, but he's used to 3 guys protecting, not 5. And so there's some lanes that are different. The vision is different up front. The rush is a little different. But ultimately, Cars has adapted to he's been playing the 11-man game for so long that he has adapted. But I do think he has some instincts that you get from being that rush. If it's coming real fast. There's not 4 and 5, 4th or 5th offensive lineman out there. So you got to get moving. I think that's why he moves well in the pocket. I think that's why he can get himself out of a bad situation and being a good athlete.
Yeah, it looks like he's learning when he can stay in the pocket because he does have 2 more guys to protect him, and when, okay, I got to bail now.
Yeah, no, he's working pocket presence every day, every chance he gets. I think Coach Brown does a good job with him with that.
And you guys are playing one of the best running backs in the RMAC again like last week. How do you kind of prepare for that, or is there any preparation that changes from last week to this week?
Man, you got to tackle. That's the name of the game on every level. The essence of defense is tackling. When a guy is bigger, you got to gang tackle. You can't just rely on one guy. And I thought that's what we've continued to do well as the season went on. We're getting multiple guys to the football, and that can't change this week. He runs extremely hard in between the tackles, but he can get to the perimeter outside of the tackle and put his foot in the ground and get vertical and run that way too. I think he's a complete back. I don't know if we've seen complete backs. I think this kid is really good at what he does, and I think he's playing for his teammates. You can see it on how he runs and how the first guy just can't get him down. So, like I said, we've got our work cut out for us defensively. We got to tackle extremely well.
And how does getting Remington back for this week after the ejection, how does that kind of help you stop Josh Cummins in that run game?
He's one of our best tacklers. So if we got to tackle, it's good to have one of your best tacklers back. That was unfortunate with Remy. It's kind of a bang-bang play. It wasn't like malicious or anything. He tapped helmets with the guy. Guy slid. I think that's a rule we need to probably take a look at in the offseason on if you're sliding and how can the linebacker stop. There's no way for him to stop. He doesn't know you're sliding until that guy slides. But we get him back, and it'll be good to get Remy back just because of his leadership. What people didn't see is how he handled that. There's a lot of different guys that I've coached over the years that would have went in the tank in a game like that when that happened. He took off his pads and he started coaching. And he started telling Coach Anderson what he saw. He started getting his teammates ready to go. And so extremely proud of him of what he did off the field, but very happy that we'll get number 7 back on the field.
So you're looking in just a little bit more Remington.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to say angry.
Yeah.
I mean,
He's an aggressive kid.
guy on
Yeah.
on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, you figure he missed the majority of big games, he's going to want to.
I mean, he's the primary captain, highest vote getter. When you lose that guy, it could be detrimental. But I think the way he handled it made it okay. And luckily, you talk about depth and rotating guys. We've got guys behind him that came in and played extremely well. Gary Zanone got in, and you couldn't tell that it was a major drop-off. Gary Zanone made tackles. He had his assignments correct. So it's really good when you do have depth, because if something happens, you do have another guy. And I thought he did a stand-up job.
All right, question of the week.
In the spirit of the season, what was your favorite Halloween costume as a kid?
Well, we didn't do Halloween when I grew up, so I never wore a costume. But I always wanted to be Batman. So I'm a Batman guy. Now they used to always try to make me Robin, Aaron, but I'm not no sidekick.